You saw how we used Knative build to actually uh, build and package our function as Docker containers and push it into a registry. At this point, what I want to show you is we want to take those functions and then deploy it into Kubernetes and then invoke them through Postman. I'm going to use Postman, but in real world, we would have a mobile application that's executing the query to actually query for stores in a nearby location, right, based on the latitude and longitude. So what I'll do is I'm going to deploy the query service into my Kubernetes cluster. So I'm going to switch over to the deploy directory, and if we take a look at the query YAML file, we can see that we're defining a route resource and a configuration. I'm going to do kubectl apply -f query.yaml. So that's going to create those two, route and a configuration. If I do kubectl get pods, nothing's really running, and that's because there's no requests coming in. I'm going to go over to this Postman collection here, and I'm going to execute the search. The search actually has a sample payload, so this would be something that's going to come from mobile application, but for the purpose of the demo, I'm just going to use Postman. Here I'm specifying a latitude, longitude, and then the radius. So if I hit send, the first time it's going to take some time because it needs to go spin things up. So now if we look kubectl get pods, we should see our deployment for query service. And if we want to take a look at the logs, I can just say kubectl logs -c user container. I can actually see the logs from my query service. Right now you can see I just pretty much log whenever it receives an 200 HTTP requests, and in this case the request was successful, and I'm seeing a response here. The reason why there's no records here is because we haven't really fed anything to the underlying Elasticsearch index, which is what we'll do in the next video. Another thing to point out is if no more requests are being submitted, eventually this pod will terminate, and you'll basically have nothing running. Again, the idea is we can now take those resources that otherwise would have taken by that service if it was always running, right? It can now be used by other applications, and we'll wait for a little bit until that pod, until the timeout happens, and then the pod will automatically terminate. kubectl get pods, it's still there. There we go, it's starting to terminate now. So if I just do kubectl get pods, you can see it's starting to terminate, and eventually that should go away. There we go. So now we no longer have anything running, so that's scaled to 0 and